So I want to take you guys through some options beforehand. So I think when we start the stream, we'll go through quick options. But we are going to be playing with hard difficulty. And what that will do is make things, well, as you can imagine, hard. So yes, we're going to be playing at a disadvantage, quite a severe disadvantage. While the Soviets will be gaining quite an advantage, they will definitely be up there. You sure got a radio voice there. You know, it'd be great to be on the radio. I don't know what to talk about, but I'd find something to talk about. I guess I could tell you guys about my day today. So what I'm doing at the moment is I'm working as a window and door installation crew member, which sounds like I'm working at McDonald's when you say crew member. But yeah, it's a lot of quote-unquote fun. But yes, I did got burnt by a drill today. So I've got like this this line of like blisters just running down from one side of the thumb to the other. Not like not straight down, like horizontal, if that makes it any better. It's like a grill. Imagine a George Foreman grill, but you put your thumb in there. So that's my day. Pretty interesting. Stings like a bitch. Okay. So that's something I need to do as well, is watch the language while I'm streaming. I can get quite bad for that. I don't swear too much, I just odd little bits every now and then. Hopefully Matrix will edit this part out, which I'm sure they probably will do. Ah, God, that burn hurts. So how is everybody doing today? How are you doing? So what I've done here as well is I've grabbed the music from, well, at least the best tracks, the actual proper tracks from War in the West and War in the East. So we have a good selection here. I'd love to play other tracks, but the thing is, I can't do that. I have to use the Matrix tracks. I mean, don't get me wrong. Oh boy, they're great. I'm not going to complain about those bad boys. Do let me know if the music is loud enough as well. Can you stream to YouTube as well in the future? As you can also export the video to YouTube, because I watch, right, okay. But what I'm going to be doing is, when I actually start the stream proper, is I will record things on my end, so I can, I can upload it to my own channel then. Which should make things easier for those of you who can't get here. So, great night, how are you doing, my friend? Hold the invasion until winter. The Soviets will never see it coming. See, you know what? I have been rather interested in an option. Not this one. Basically, do I have random weather? Which I think could be rather interesting. It could work very much against me, but it could work very much for me. So I think what we might do is try it with the random weather. What do you guys reckon? Could add like a very interesting randomness. I suppose at the end, if we actually do manage to hold Berlin long enough on the Red Army, it might very well be due to the actual weather. Yeah, give it a try? Okay. I only need to be told once. It depends if you feel lucky or not. When I go random, I tend to get mud on turn 3. Well, the thing is, we are playing on the defensive, so that's not really an issue for me. But in fact would help me more than anything. It would very much slow down the Soviet offensive. So we are going to play without that. We'll play with the random weather. Which should be rather interesting. It will be the first time I've played with the random weather myself, actually. Okay, let's get a more War in the East track. Yeah, there we go. One of my favourites. Is the music loud enough? I can make it a little bit louder. I mean, the tracks are absolutely fantastic. There we go. Hard is okay is Germany in 1941. Whoops. Had my own video playing in the background there. Hard is okay is Germany in 1941 too, or should you play on an even harder difficulty? Well, see, this is a question. You can play on hard really on any scenario. Just be mindful. Be very, very mindful. The winter will screw you. The mud will screw you. The Soviets will screw you. It will happen. It depends really on how the AI is, but it will happen. Oh, that's a shame there, Mybar. I hope to see you again soon. Okay. So about 10 minutes left then. What do you guys want to talk about? I noticed I didn't get any sympathy for my burn, so... It's not even a sick burn. It's actually no memes involved here, unfortunately. You know, just trying to milk that sympathy money. So hard might be even too hard versus the AI. The thing is, you're going to make progress. You are going to make progress against the Soviets. It's just when that first winter comes, and it will come, it will hurt. See, I loved the push on Moscow. Really adored that. Which scenario are you starting today? Ooh, you're going to be in for a treat here, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to be in for an incredible treat. I'm not going to reveal the scenario as of yet, but you will enjoy it. Overall favourite Matrix/Slytherin game. See, for the Geod, I would say Civil War 2. That is a superb game, definitely fantastic. One of my all-time favourites. It runs so smoothly, absolutely runs so smoothly, I adore it. I do enjoy To End All Wars, that's very good in play-by-email scenarios, well, multiplayer games. Though I would say Grigsby's War in the Pacific, then one in the East, then one in the West. There's a lot of good games. Yes, the, Rasputia? I can't remember how you actually pronounce that. But I know what you mean, like the Russian season of the mud, basically. Few moments here now. The stream will officially begin about 6 PM. Hello, hello. True, true. Seems very risky to play a grand campaign with the random weather. But you know what? I think it is going to be worthwhile doing. I think it's going to be one of those scenarios, and I don't think everybody knows the scenario I'm doing. I have announced it on my own channel in some other streams, I've mentioned it. But I don't know if it's been officially announced to all of you. But you will see. It will be fantastic. But the random weather actually could help us out quite a great deal. And you will see why soon. Got to say I adore this music. Yeah, definitely. I mean, the weather does help the German forces, well, the Axis forces out. We can't just say German, as obviously we will have Hungarian, Italian, Romanian potentially. Though I'm not too sure about Romanian, it will depend. I do believe we will have Hungarian, possibly Italian. Maybe a few other nations if there's any available to us. But yes, I'm sure you guys will be very happy. There's a reason I'm starting on this screen as well as the scenario we are going to be playing. It is a Soviet first turn. And what I will do is I will run the scenario, I will run the first turn very slowly ideally. Try and really get an idea of what we're doing. I am using a few mods here and I will have to try and find the links for them if I do remember. You can always remind me by going over to my channel, which is XTRG on YouTube, and just sending me a message there, or just commenting on the video and just asking for like the mod links or something, and that'll give me a good reason to remember. 38 non-Geod Slytherin games, 2 of them are Grigsby and my Steam collection. Fantastic. I like the Geod games. I think they'd be even better if the engine was a little bit more reliable, but they are superb. I would definitely say Civil War 2 is very good. See, I do have Rise of Prussia, and I would like to play that. There's also Birth of America, I do believe. I'd like to play that one as well. I do think that they could do with updating some of these older geods to use like the more modern UI. Okay, a few minutes now. Geod is developing a new engine. That should be awesome. Yeah, I played Rise of Prussia as Austria, and I can tell you it is bloody hard. You know, I might actually do as a series. That's really an interesting thing. But it's very cool. I like it. Very much enjoy that period. Thank you there, Krupp. How you doing, my friend? Yeah, I can imagine best played against an opponent. See, what I find with the older geods is, well, with the new ones, you get a sense of how powerful an enemy army is, as you will have like a, you will have a number, a rough number, so at least you can go by an estimate. See, Revolution Under Siege is really quite a good game, a very, very good game. I'd imagine that'd be absolutely fantastic in, against a human opponent, which is something I might actually take a look at setting up in the future. But I really enjoy that game. I mean, Revolution Under Siege really portrays a time period that I don't think there's much else that covers that. I don't think there's many other games that do cover that, or at least in that scale. Yeah, definitely a great game. Can you guys tell me if the music is a little bit too loud? I'm trying to make sure people can actually hear it, but it's not overwhelming. Ah, that's fantastic then. I do believe I have a mod actually that alters the music, or at least the sound effects. We'll have to see about that. Ah, that's fantastic then. The tracks are really fantastic. Bum 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 bum. So the scenario we are going to be playing today is from the Lost Battles expansion. Yeah, my part of the newer Judd games. See, the Judd games are very interesting in the fact that the map is made of like tiles almost, which is in a way quite similar to how the Grigsby games are made of. I do believe, I mean, it's like I have some indication that there might be in the works a new version of War in the Pacific. Maybe. Hardly anything. So when playing as the USSR in the Grand campaigns, you dare let the AI tackle challenging settings. To be fair, I'd go for it. As the Soviets, the victory is almost inevitable. You're not going to lose unless you really muck up. And it's like the AI will definitely give you a hide-in, and it will take a long time. It might take you 1 to 2 years to even start to really push the Axis back, but you will eventually, as a human opponent. But who knows, the AI could do very, very well. Okay, 2 minutes to the left. They seem to be going by quite slowly. So I have to remember to set an actual timer so I know when to stop properly. One more minute to go. Did you guys get to hear my proper introduction? Again, for some of you who were already here. But good afternoon there. How are you doing, my friend? How long am I streaming today? 2 hours. 6 PM to 8 PM GMT plus 0. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Grigsby's War in the East. As we play today, we will be taking on the challenge of one of the scenarios from the Lost Battles expansion. Now, what we're doing here is we're going to be playing it on the hard difficulty, which is going to give the Soviets quite the advantage here. As you can see with the Axis forces, we will be taking a penalty. The Soviets will be gaining quite the benefit here, quite the advantage. We are going to be using the better combat value math, as well as we have changed something here. We're going to be using random weather, which is going to be rather interesting. Though to compensate for that, I've decided to take away the Soviet combat bonus, as we're playing on hard already, and the weather is going to be random. So, here we go. Now, do bear in mind I've started on the screen so I can show the options off, as well as, so I can show you the scenario. We are going to be playing the Vistula to the BerlinScenario. Soviet forces launched one final decisive offensive led by their most experienced commanders, Zhukov and Konev. The Germans, vastly outnumbered in personnel equipment, faced a desperate defense of Courland, Prussia and Berlin. This scenario replays the last desperate struggle of a collapsing regime and the last great and costly Soviet campaign to seal their victory, after years of brutal hardship. The odds are stacked against the Germans as they are heavily outnumbered and face many tough decisions. The goal of the Soviet players is to perform better than the historical outcome, but the German players simply need to do whatever he can to prevent that. So the scenario is 20 turns. And oh boy, this is going to be interesting. So we are going to start the scenario, and it will start with a Soviet turn. So I'm going to turn down the actual speed here. Okay. So I am using a mod here. And what this mod does is, well, one of the many mods is actually change the look of the map over here. So the reason I'm starting off in this mode from such a zoomed out view is so I can show that off to begin with. In the following turns, we will start closer to the map. But what I want to do here is I want to get an idea of how the Soviets are going to move. I do believe I will turn down the actual game volume just a little bit. There we go, we'll see how that turns out. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to speed this up. I wanted to make sure this was going to work, and it is, so that's fantastic. Now what we will do here is, after the Soviets are finished with their turn, is we will take a look at the actual Axis forces on the ground, and we will see where the Red Army is going to be throwing their offensive. Okay, we'll speed this up. There we go, message level 0. That'll speed things up quite significantly. Good luck. Oh, we don't need luck. We don't need luck where we're going. Okay. Now, I can imagine that you guys might be angry at me for starting off in this view, but the reason for this is so we can actually see the overall scale of the offensive. And here we go. We'll be able to zoom in now shortly and take a look at the details. So yes, I do have a few little mods over here. I do have a mod for the flag over here as well. Hopefully I don't get too tongue-tied this time. Seashells, seashells by the seashore. Okay. Now it is going to be some time before we actually finish our first turn. So what we're going to do then is we're going to zoom in over here. So as we can see, the weather is truly quite dire. We'll put on the enemy hexes over here, and let's take a look at the situation on the ground. So, to begin with, we have a very large Soviet offensive over here. So if I take a look at the actual scale of this issue, it is quite dire. For example, these aren't divisions, these are corps. So we have individual corps here, all acting together. And this is quite the issue. Okay. Indeed, so many Soviet units. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to take a look at the order of battle. So under Oberkommando Deha, we have... how many troops do we actually have in total? Let's see. I can scroll down, but first I want to take a look at the commander. So we have General Oberst Heinz Guderian, Now, Heinz Guderian is one of our most able commanders. His initiative is very good. Very, very good. He's a very able administrator. His political is, it's okay. That means it's actually not too bad to replace him if we should choose to. His morale is not too bad at all. His mechanized and infantry is superb. He's a very good commander. A very fine one indeed. So what we're going to do over here is we're going to go to the order of battle again. And we're going to go all the way down here to the bottom. And now what I want to see is really what we have under our command. Now if we take a look, we have just over 2 million men under our command here. If I go into the commander's report, if I go to headquarters, we sort by headquarters, let's sort by men. There we go. Indeed. 35 defeats is from the first turn of the game, where obviously the Soviets would advance it on us. So we can see here that we have just about 2,237,921 available to us. 26,721 guns, 6,218 armoured fighter vehicles, 1,446 aircraft, which is rather interesting. Okay, so we have an idea of how many men we have active. Let's actually take a look at these actual headquarters and see where we can make improvements. Now, we do see that we do have individual divisions, as well as various forces attached directly to OKH, to the Supreme Command. Großdeutschland Panzerkorps. Intriguing. As well as all these fortified zones, so we have the Pomeranian Wall, Courland Frontier, as well as individual infantry divisions. So we have Army Group North, Centre and A. South was basically decimated. I mean, Army Group Centre has been decimated. All of the German army groups have been pretty much decimated at this point. But we'll take a look at the actual individual commanders and see where we can make some improvements. Now, I do only have 66 administration points, so I do need to be very careful with them. But we can see here that we have Schröner. I don't know how you particularly pronounce his name, so hopefully I'll do my best here. So General Ulbas Ferdinand Schröner. 9998. He's actually not too bad. 5 and 8. So he is in control of the army group in Courland, which is not looking too great right now. So this is our actual command here of Army Group North. And indeed, definitely not a good situation over here. 3rd Panzer Army is under the command of Army Group Centre. Okay. So, the Courland Pocket. This is where we need to try and break out. Yeah, he's not too bad. I'd like to have like a good Guderian level commander. Is that too much to ask? Well, yes it is, because they're actually pretty damn fine commanders. Okay, so what we're going to do then is we're going to take a look at Army Group North and work out what we have available to us. Okay, so 16th Army, 18th Army. General Karl Hilpert. Okay, he's not bad actually, he's quite a fine commander I suppose for an infantry commander. Infantry is quite good. Political is very high, it's actually difficult to replace. His initiative is not too great, morale and administrative are, I'd say, adequate. 9 is good, below that is adequate, well, 1 below that is adequate, anything less than that is poor, rather poor. Okay. Then the 18th Army. General Ehrenfried. Look, ah dear. I'm bad already. Very bad at these names. Okay, so he's not very good. He's okay. He's an okay commander. Rightio. So what we're going to do then is we're actually going to take a look at these commands then. So I'm going to take a look over here to Army Group North. And we can see the makeup over here. Bring Manstein out of retirement, indeed. Okay. Let's sort by the numbers of men here. Okay, so this is all Army Group North. Yes, that's very true. It's a good indication. It's an approximation, really. You have to do math. Okay, so 11th SS Panzergrenadier Division is actually our strongest division over here. Let's take a look at that. I mean, indeed, that is actually quite a strong division. This is very, very strong. The order of battle isn't too bad either. So the table of equipment. Okay, so it seems like we have some attached units, as that brings up the number. Yes, we do have some artillery over here, these assault guns. Now, these are very nice, actually. Heavy assault guns. How many of those bad boys do I have? So we have 23 Stug 3s, we have 11 Stug 42s. That's actually quite nice. I can make a lot with that. I can do a lot with that. Okay, support. Okay. So we've had a cursory glance at Army Group North. Let's inspect Army Group Center. Okay, General Ulbers George Hans Reinhardt. Let's inspect him. Well, he likes his 7s, but I don't think he's a very good commander. I think I would like to replace him in the future. But for the time being, he will do. Okay, so we have the 3rd Panzer Army, the 4th the 4th Army, 2nd Army, and Luftflottilla 6. Well, Luftflot. Okay. Is it possible to evacuate the Courland pocket to move those troops to East Prussia? We will try to explore that option. Ideally, it'd be great to break them out. I don't think that is actually possible, but we'll try. Who knows how the war could go. Okay, and then we have another Panzer Corps. Led by Mortimer von Kessel. And then finally, we have Army Group A, under the command of General Ulbers Joseph Harp. Indeed, we like our 7s down here. Fortress construction. Okay. 9th Army, 4th Panzer Army. 17th Army, 1st Panzer Army, and the 1st Hungarian Army. Okay, at least we can see that we do have some allied troops. Seems like we only have the Hungarians with us. Only 67,000. Only 63,000 of those are actually combat ready. So in effect, we're really down to the wire here on troops. We aren't going to be receiving extra support. We don't really have much to throw. But that's good to see. At least we have something. Okay, so let's take a look at the actual situation on the ground. We'll start in the north. I think that's probably the best way to start. So I'm going to bring it up my drawing tool so we can actually start to plan things out. Okay. This is going to be fun. Now the Soviets are definitely here in force. If we were to take a look for actual weaknesses, we're not going to find many. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw a front line. I've already buggered it up. And I buggered it up again. Okay. So what we need to do here then is, we need to bear in mind we're in the depths of winter as of this moment. So, it's difficult. What I'm going to do is consider drawing back to this river line. Now it's a shame that the river line doesn't carry on like that, but we're not that lucky. But what I could potentially do here is I could hold my position here. Retreat over here. It's a shame I'd lose this port. So what we might do then is just hold on to these 2 hexes. Now this is if the Courland pocket holds on into the warmer months, which is not guaranteed. But at least that would allow us to have a more defensible position. For the time being though, and in the harsh reality, we need to take a look at what we have available to us. We do have this area of heavy forest, which I'm going to draw on here, just so we can gain an idea of what we have available to us. Do let me know if this is clear enough to see. I could choose a different colour. Okay. So the Soviets are more than likely... Well... their best chance to advance would be through these gaps here. I mean, this is rough terrain here, so it's not very good. But their best attack avenue would be down this way. So this area is the one that we need to pay the most attention to, as that is the area that we're weakest in. We do have a port over here, which is very important. We also do importantly have these rail connections. I do not believe these rail connections run all the way to the north. We'll take a quick look. Okay. Right. How much supply can those small ports receive? we're going to find that one out in time. But what I'm seeing here is actually quite, quite a shame. So let's see, we draw our line of supply here from the port. I have the rail line here. If I had this here, I could send that back up, but we do not. So the rail line ends here and begins again here. So you can see here, this hex, this rail line is actually linked up to the network as it's on the actual port. So is this one. So these areas are linked up. Everything else isn't. What we need to do is actually establish a connection. If I was able to, from Memel, establish that, or even from East Prussia, we'd be able to get some actual true supplies in there. But that's not going to happen. At least not yet. We need to try and engineer these circumstances for something like this to happen. Excuse me, what? But we can see here that we have to protect these two avenues. These are the avenues with the most danger. In fairness, the Soviets have it easy up to about this part, and then it does become significantly more difficult for them as the rough terrain here is going to make that rather terrible. They could push here as well, but beyond that is heavier forest. This is a danger, this area, as they could push here relatively easily. They do have some small lakes, but that's going to present no obstacle as we're in the depths of winter. So what we need to take a look at doing then is a way to secure our line here. Okay. Epic pen is indeed epic. Right, so let's see. What we'll do is we'll start off... a way I like to start off is to identify areas of strength and areas of weakness. Yeah, we'll check for forts, but what I want to do now is figure out where we need to look for the danger. This isn't too bad, this is manageable. Okay. So area of strength, of course, would be here. I should draw that all on. Okay. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to draw on where we are strong. Which is not many locations. And the Panzer Division obviously is quite good. We do have another Panzer Division here. Okay. Other than that, it's really quite dire for us. Okay. So let's take a look at what we're actually dealing with. So we have 2nd Guards Rifle Corps, the 22nd Guards Rifle Corps, the Tank Brigade there, Guard, Infantry. So the Guards are definitely even more dangerous than the actual usual Infantry Corps. Right, an Artillery Brigade. So it seems very unlikely that we could capture the town back over here. Extremely unlikely. So what we're going to do then is we're going to take a look at the fortifications. So we do have level 3 fortifications across the board over here. We do have a line of fortifications here, which is actually fantastic. This is where I would have actually established my own line of fortifications. But what we need to do here is build in a 2nd line of retreat. Well, technically a 3rd line of retreat. The worst case scenario is we are pushed back from here. And to be honest, we can't afford to be pushed back. We only have the port over here, we only have the port over here. If we lose these ports, we lose pretty much the fight over here in Courland. So in reality, I would say the best course of action, and if we are forced into it, I would say the best course of action would be to actually establish a front line very much like this. It's very, very tight. Very tight. But this is the worst case scenario. Ideally, what we'd have to look at is giving ground where we can give it. If I could hold here with the actual urban centre, that'd be quite nice. What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to use the actual natural defences to my advantage, but I also do need to shorten down the actual width of the engagement, so I have more forces available, and their numbers matter less and less. If we can do that, that's going to greatly help us. So let's see what units we actually have available and their general condition. So we can see here morale, experience, supplies. So supplies is actually not too bad right now. what I'm going to do is actually take a look at the actual supply situation itself on the ground. Okay, so we have the third SS Panzer Corps. We have the 6th SS Panzer... oh my dear. We have the 6th SS Corps, which is actually overburdened in command points. Right, what I want to do is take a look at your supply details. Where are you drawing your supply from? Okay. So this is where we're being supplied from. Thankfully it says over here, which is a lot better. I'm glad it's not this port over here, as that is the one we're more than likely going to lose. We do have a few forces over here at Mamel. Now, the actual forces on the ground here are actually quite weak. There's only a few divisions. So if we were able to push through anywhere, it would be great to push through here. I would consider actually trying to pull back from Mamel. The thing with Mamel is, well, Mamel. It's actually quite a good defensive position. Very well entrenched, so it's worth keeping that just to make sure that we do have pressure on the Soviet lines. Even if it's a slight amount of pressure, it's worth it. Okay, so what we're going to do then is, I think we'll deal with the Courland pocket first of all, as it's a self-contained theatre in of itself. So what do we have available to us in terms of assets then? So the Panzers on the ground, they're not in the greatest condition. We are at 50% of our medium tanks, 25% of our lights. Not a good situation. We have no tank destroyers in this division. That's rather poor. If I'm able to, I do need to transfer tank destroyers over to this area. I think what we need to try to do then is perish the thought of evacuation for the time being. I simply can't evacuate now, because if I evacuate, my lines elsewhere will crumble. I need the Courland pocket to hold on for the time being. And if it's possible, we will try to save them. It may happen. There is a chance of this. What I need to do now is I'm going to take a quick look at my actual production. So if we go over here to our actual production numbers, what I want to find out then is how many armoured fighter vehicles we are producing. So let's go by types. I'm going to look for my mediums. So these are Panthers. Panther G and Panzer 4J. Okay. Yeah, we're not producing many of those bad boys, are we? We are producing a good, respectable amount of Stugs. That's very good. I like those. Jagdpanzers, not many at the moment. Evacuation gives me nasty flashbacks to reading Hastings Armageddon. You know what, I actually do have that book. I need to get around to reading that at some point. It's a beautiful book. And you know what's even better is I actually picked that up for £2.50. That was a bargain. That was an absolute bargain. It's from a W.H. Smith that was closing down, so I got in there. An elephant. We actually have it available in one unit, which is rather interesting. We do have Jagdtiger. Jagdtigers, they are beautiful. See, what I like about this is that we're actually playing in the late war. So we actually do have a lot of this late war equipment available, which is absolutely awesome. Okay. Very impressive. Yes, very true. German war production was very much refined. How is this division? Okay, that's 100 medium tanks. This is in better shape. It actually does have tank destroyers, which is very nice. How is the 12? Not bad condition. Unless I've already looked at the 12, which I'm very likely already have. Right, better. That's actually quite good. At least for this situation. Okay. So let's see our boots on the ground. I think what we need to do then is take a look at this rear line. So we do have a Courland fortified zone. We need to establish further fortified zones. And in reality, I need to see what I can spare. Where is your headquarters? So you're attached directly to the 18th Army. That's not a great situation. Okay, you can handle a lot more units. We do have the Panzer Grenadiers. Now, these Panzer Grenadiers are actually incredibly formidable. What I'd be better off doing is potentially breaking that unit into 3 parts and using them as brigades. Really using them to try and secure parts of the line. Try and build up that strength there. And you know what? I forgot to set my actual bloody timer. God damn. Okay. See, this is it. It's the temptation to actually evacuate, but I don't think it's possible. At least we are going to lose something. So I think what we need to do then is establish a clear defensive line in Courland. See what we can manage and evacuate if we need to, or if we're able to, in good order. That's the main part, in good order. Okay. I would love to retreat back and fall back, but I really don't have that luxury as of this moment. This division isn't in the greatest order right now, so it is on reserve. These forces are on reserve. Okay. We do have security in the rear. This force is unassigned. So what we're going to do then is we're actually going to take a look at our commanders of these corps and really try to get the best defensive commanders here. Right, we do have some actual SS Grenadier Division. Okay, not too bad. Are these 1945 table equipment? Yeah. 45 Infantry Division. So, rather poor. The assault guns are good, but yeah. These are rather poor divisions. Okay, so what we're going to do then is we're actually going to reassign these troops over here. So this corps could handle this extra division. This one is attached to the 18th Army. What I'm going to do is have you attach this corps to the 10th Corps. Yeah, they will get trashed. Okay, you can handle further forces. The Panzer Division is attached to the 2nd Corps. Right, 2nd Corps. 2nd SS Panzer Corps, 10th Corps. What do you have in terms of equipment? You do have a heavy Panzer Jaeger. That's actually quite impressive. Okay, so I apologise, this is going to be a much slower starter stream. We do have a heck of a lot to do here, and it is going to take some time. But we will organise an actual effective defence, and we will make this work. Let's see, supplies. So you do have a good amount of supplies, you have more fuel. I think what we'll do then is we'll put all the armoured units under command of the SS Corps over here, and have the normal armour units under the command of the others. So you're going to be attached to the SS Corps over here, so the 3rd SS Panzer Corps. There we go. What we're going to do here then is I'm going to set the colour. Oh, I don't know. 128, 128, 128. It's certainly not the best colour there, but hey, we'll go with that. At least we can see what we're doing here clearly. Have you attached to 10th Corps if we have the room for it? Okay, we'll change our colour, so 78, 99, 100. Wow, I'm making these really terrible colours. Okay, yes, you can handle that division. What I'm trying to do here is make sure that we have the armoured forces available as a reactionary force. I don't want to have them tied down, I want to have them freed up. Now, which goes to answer the question. We have to keep this Panzer gunner in the air division here, due to the sheer fact that we have 2 guard corps to the south as well as an infantry corps over here. They would attack on a 3-pronged front, which they probably more than likely will do anyway. But if I can make it slightly easier, then I will try to. Okay. Ideally, I'd like you as close to supply as possible. So where are you drawing your supply from? Okay, of course it's coming from this port over here. That's fine. Going to move you towards the centre here. You will be attached to that Panzer Corps, to the 3rd Panzer Corps. There we go. They're all within range, but I'm going to move to the centre here to make sure that they're closer. And what we're going to do here is try to drop these panzers. The threat over here is large, but it's not too terrible. I do have the security forces over here, which I'm going to commit to the actual battle itself. We don't have to worry about a naval offensive. At least I don't think we have to worry about a naval offensive. At least an amphibious offensive. So we'll see what we can do. I still have this over here, so I'm going to put that into... Let's see, what do we have in terms of garrison? Just these security forces. What I'll do then is I'll place you over here. Form this into an actual division. Okay, build that up. And move you down here. I do have another security division over here. So what I'll do is I'll put them there. The 201st. Where's the rest of your section? Ah. They're all the way down here. Okay, so we're going to march these fellows down to the south. Oh, I do have a division over here, the Courland Infantry Division. Now that's worth its weight in gold. That's actually really nice. That is an actual proper division I can use quite effectively. So what we will do then is we'll have them shifted to the danger zones, which is down here. I think this is the area which they can break through the easiest. Over here isn't a great situation, don't get me wrong, but it's one that I can actually sort of make do with. So I'm going to make a decision and move this division down to the south. I'm going to move it closer to the actual coastline. Okay, that caused a little bit overburdened as of this moment in time. We'll make do. Okay, have you under the command of the 18th Army for this moment in time? Let's see. I don't have much here, so I have a Pioneer Battalion, Machine Gun Battalion, Sturm Artillery Brigade. Yeah. Army Group North really does not have much. We have a few construction battalions, we have a few howitzers. Other than that, we really don't have a huge amount. We're really quite lacking. I do have some Luftwaffe forces over here, though, which is nice. Not a huge amount. Focke-Wulf 190s, which is decent enough. We do have some transports, so that's interesting. Okay, what we're going to do then is move this airfield down this way. The reason for that is if I decide to actually fly supplies in over here, which is an actual true possibility, if I fly them into the 18th Army, they're going to land directly on that airfield, and the vast majority of those supplies will arrive, if not all of them. It depends really if we are going to be targeted in the air. Okay. Move you closer to the front line. And in fairness, you could actually operate as a full-blown core command, so that's good for those. What I'm trying to do here is alleviate the actual pressure on some of our forces. Okay, so that's going to do for the moment in time. So what we're going to look at now is these actual commanders. He's very poor. He's actually quite a poor commander, so we are going to dismiss him. And we are going to look for a more formidable commander. His infantry isn't bad. His mechanized is pretty poor. Okay, we don't have that many great commanders. We really don't. Wow. Okay, what we'll do then is replace him with a better commander. Not a superb commander, but a better one. Which I don't have much choice over. 7-7 is pretty good, actually. Okay, Ulrich Kliemann will do. Passable. I thought we'd have better commanders, but we really don't have many. So we will have to be quite restrained. Right, they'll pass for the time being. They're not very good, but they'll pass. The Panzer Corps, however, does need a good commander. 7-7, that's pretty effective, but let's see, if I was to replace you, what would we have available? Nothing that beats 7-7. So that's fine, we'll have you kept in place then. Okay, so Courland is going to be rather a remarkable challenge. I do have this formation over here, which is in different sections. Okay, only 3,000. What I'm going to do then is I'm actually going to form them up into a proper division. Take you from the front lines, move you to the rear. You can act as a reserve formation. Okay, so we need to put them under the command of an actual corps. We'll put them under the command of that 6 SS Corps. You already are. Okay. Reserve. Now, where do we deploy this artillery? So looking at Army Group North here. Let's start by headquarters. 10th Corps is over the limit. That's true. 1 point over there. So we will have that changed over. What I'll do is I'll shift one division to this, one division to this, so on and so forth. Okay, so we'll move the 11th Infantry Division over. Now, we do have a larger amount of forces over here, actually. Which is rather interesting. I could do with actually shifting these forces up and across the line, as I don't want to have too many all in one spot. And in all honesty, they're actually in a better position. So what we're going to do here then is, this force is going to be kept on reserve. Or is it? No, I'm going to move it to the front line. If I can double up on these divisions, I'll be happier. Right, reserve. Right, so the 11th will go to the 3rd SS. Sorry, is it the 3rd SS? No, of course not. Oh, it actually is the 3rd SS, that one, isn't it? I'm looking towards the L Corps. L Corps is an actual familiar corps. Ah. Do you have the Panzer Corps? We'll move them to the Panzer Corps. There we go. Actually, you know what? I think I moved them to the wrong corps. That's embarrassing. I meant this Panzer Corps. I moved them to an SS Panzer Corps. But that's fine. We'll change them back in the following turn. Okay. That means you're not too heavily burdened. So what I can do is I can actually assign the 263rd to this corps over here. To 1st Corps. Okay. And I do have another corps over here, but I'm going to keep that really in reserve. I want to keep it available. So what we have then is we need to spread some of these troops out. So we've doubled up on our forces over here, which is a good start. That means that we have more men on the front line available. This corps, the 10th Corps, what I need to do is actually support, well, sort by amount of extras. Okay. Right, none. I need to see artillery. Okay. So by numbers of men. I'll just go here. Ah, this is it. Headquarters. Right. Army Group North. Okay, so what I'm going to do then is, can I bring this down? Right, of course, now this is what I want to be taking a look at. So we don't have them actually assigned directly to the course here. Which does worry me. Right, we'll go down another level. So division. So you can see these forces over here are the ones that have been hit the hardest. Right, okay, so this is where we need to worry about. Let's take a look. So we do have some artillery in. What I'll do then is I'll assign some extra howitzers. I'm going to assign an extra 2 battalions of howitzers over here. Move them closer to the front line. Okay. So these extra 2 howitzers are pretty decent. It's not a huge amount. Only 4 105mm howitzers there. And just another 2. So about 6 105mm howitzers. Not a great amount, I'm not going to lie. We will assign extra artillery down to this region here. Then again, I do need to worry about this armor. Yes, extra artillery here. There we go, howitzers. Okay. 3 150s. You need extra support. And in fact, I'm going to put you on the front line. Pioneers. Sturm artillery. Okay, we'll keep those support units in place for the time being. So what we've done here really is we've sort of stiffened the defences of Courland. Not by a huge amount, but at least they will be a little bit stiffer than they were beforehand, which is a good thing. So that's Courland more or less done with for the time being. I think what we will do though is I'd like to set up another defensive line here. I mean, this is too far back, but we'll see. Perhaps one around here. How expensive is this? That's for administration. I will build a fortified zone though on top of the port. We do need to hold that at all costs. Okay, so now then let's take a look at the area of East Prussia. So we can see here we are dealing with a major Soviet offensive, and I mean major. We'll draw the front line and this will help us to identify. Oh boy. Right, so we can already see some danger zones here. These are rather weak, these are only brigades. We may have the power to actually push these back, which if we take a look over at the fortification levels, this is a level 3 fortified zone. That's pretty important to keep a hold of if we can do so. At the end of the day, it means a lot to actually have that bit extra defense, that little bit extra is really quite nice. Okay. We could try to evacuate Mamel. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick look at that and see what options we do. Oh, if we can, that is. We'll try that last, just in case. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn off the weather effects for the time being. Well, that's the weather zones. Well, I forgot how you do that. So ignore me on that one. Let's actually take a look at our objectives. So we need to hold on to Königsberg, Danzig, Posen, Breslau, Berlin, obviously Berlin, and Stettin. Krakow, Brunn, Do we have any objectives in Courland? We do have objectives over here. That'd be very nice. Notice we don't have any offensive objectives. Okay. What do I have to throw the Soviets over here? I do have some formidable forces. Well, when I say formidable, we do have the 5th Panzer. That's formidable. The other forces, not so much. Not so much. The important thing is really trying to stem the tide here. This is far too powerful. That is a Guard Tank Corps as well as, well, a Guard Tank Corps, a 1st Tank Corps, the 1st Tank Corps, the 43rd Guards Tank Brigade as well. That's a lot of armour. We can't really deal with that. We don't have the firepower to really push them back. We do have the firepower to turn about these brigades over here. That is a potential possibility. What I would like to do then is ideally draw upon troops from the rear to do that. We do have Panzer Grenadiers, so we have the Deutschland Panzer Grenadier Division. We're light on the numbers here, we're very light on the numbers. And oh boy. Evacuate Mamel. You can send them to Courland for extra forces or East Prussia. East Prussia would be the most sensible option as they would have the most chance to survive. Courland would be nice, it would be nice, I'm not gonna lie, but we'll see. Okay, so... oh boy. This is difficult. We do have Warsaw over here. Warsaw, City at War, Voices of the Underground. That's a major defensive opportunity. This area south of Königsberg is terrible defensive terrain. You are definitely right there, my friend. So this is why it's going to take such a long time to get through the first turn, is really we have a lot to deal with. Now this is a terrible situation. Absolutely horrific. These forces are cut off and they're not going to be able to get out of there. Which is a shame actually, that's a loss of 2/3 of 2 divisions. I would have liked to have had them. There are some weaker forces, but it's still not enough to break them out. If we'd had a much stronger armoured force, we might have been able to attempt it, but this is not going to work. Bloody hell. So opposing 2 Guard Tank Corps as well as a Mechanized Corps, he's only... Did I mention a Guard Mechanized Corps? Is only a brigade of artillery. That's not going to happen, is it? Okay. This area is the largest amount of danger right now. So if anything, we will have to actually transfer some of these forces from the north down to the centre, if we have any chance of holding on there. Ah, boy. I think what we need to do then is establish a stable or semi-stable front line, and then we'll work out from there. So let's see. I know I said I would like to use these forces from the rear, but I simply don't have that luxury. This artillery brigade will be assigned to the nearest headquarters, which is over here. Now, they are going to be on reserve so that they can actually aid in a attack. This force over here could potentially deal with this, so I'm going to use them. The 5th Panzer Division. Let's see, how good are you? You do have a okay amount of your mediums. You do have all of your tank destroyers, which is superb. What can I assign you to stiffen your resolve? Nothing at the moment. These forces could actually benefit from some heavy panzers. As well as we do have Storm Artillery Brigade, we have Stoke Brigade, we have a Pioneer Battalion. Now these are Volksgrenadiers. I don't want to use these forces on the front line. They're weak enough as it is. We'll put you into ready. I will go for a full-on assault over here. Okay. So I need to actually put the message detail on there. Okay. So I'd like to actually inspect that battle. So if we take a look over here. So they do retreat. We did have good odds. Very good odds. So obviously we were the ones attacking. Right, so they're part of the 11th Guards Army. I don't see any air support, which is a good thing. We lost 7 armoured fighting vehicles, 9 have been damaged. They did lose 31 armoured fighting vehicles. So that's good. 2 were damaged. So yes, no air power in the battle. Okay. What I can do now is I can actually push forward this division. Or this Volksgrenadier division. So they push forward. I do not want to attack with them. Now we have used a lot of our movement. So we'll go with a hasty attack. It's good to see the 300mm Nebelwerfers. They're quite effective. Okay, they're forced to retreat. Right, the Panzers have taken a blow. I do have the opportunity here. Do I pull back with these 2 divisions, which is probably the best idea, and really the only idea, well, the only option we have. So I'll pull back. Okay. This isn't great. We could just hold that position for the time being. A reason being, it will just help to stiffen up our resolve there. So we will do that. We do have a division behind it, as well as these forces, so at least they have somewhere to retreat to. These guys will be set to reserve for the time being. Right. This is a difficult situation. We do need to assign these corps out in a more sensible manner. Yeah, they're kind of all over. Pull back and let them survive for a while. If we do pull back, we do lose the benefit of this level 3 fortified zone, which I know it sounds madness. It does, I agree. Excuse me. But the reason is, that's going to be worth a lot. That makes them a hell of a lot more... But again, you know what? We take a look at this. The Axis can attack... Sorry, the Soviets can attack... Well, not this one. They can attack from all these directions. So they can attack from 4 different directions at once. So I guess what we will do then is we will surrender this. It does hurt me. It does physically pain me. But what I will do then is I will pull back the Volksgrenadier division. And I'm going to put them on reserve. Well, I can't put them on reserve. But at least we've stiffened up our resistance here. Yeah, we're going to get steamrolled. We really are. And hello there, No Hauser. How are you doing, my friend? Panzergrenadier. See, the difficulty is the rivers don't matter right now. That's good to know. And the thing is, I need to take forces away from this area. I really do. I actually do have too many here. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do a actual assessment of East Prussia. Ah, fantastic, No House. I'd love to see that. Okay, so what we're going to do then is we're going to use dark green. I'm going to draw the forests with this. And this is going to look ridiculous, I apologise, but it's going to really help us in terms of planning. Now we do have some actual areas of true defence. At least areas that we can use to our advantage. I do hope you guys can see this clearly. The map seems a little bit bright. Right, these are only lightly forested. But that's the sort of rough outline of what we have available. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw in a yellow the actual swamps. Well, at least marshes. Okay. You know, other than that, there's really... That's clear. 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 Yeah, we really don't have much going for us here. Not a lot. The best, whoops. There we go. Ah, dear. Okay. The best we have is these urban centers. These are our anchors. I know this is going to look mightily confusing, but it will make sense. The reason I'm drawing this out is it genuinely does help us make a proper plan of action. Okay. Over here. Actually, I'll just redraw that last one. Maybe surrender and save the lives of millions of your countrymen. Oh no, millions would die anyway. Ah, over here. Okay. So, this looks like a lot of dots. It really does, I know that. A lot of little circles. But what we're going to do here is we're going to actually use this and draw up the defensive lines. I know it looks like madness, I know that. Trust me, it will look better soon. But I can already kind of see a defensive line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw in black a sort of preliminary defensive line. At least this is one that we could use to begin with. So this is going to be the first defensive line, or at least one that would work well enough. I mean, I could actually, well, let's see here. I was trying to use the urban centers. But what we could do is we could use the marshes too. Okay, I mean, this is quite weak here, but I do want to use these urban centers. At least we do have the towns here to act as strong points. So beyond that, the next best line would probably be... And then, of course... So we can see first, second, third. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually move the other lines there, and this is the one I want to concentrate on. So at least in this one, it's not the greatest, but at least it's the one that we can most immediately move to with the most benefit. We do lose the forest over here, but that doesn't particularly matter. We do have the forest to our rear, which is nice. I wish we could have had it on this line. This part of the line is probably the easiest to defend, as we do have a lot of terrain to actually help us out. See, I know it looks madness, but you know when you actually draw it out like this, it almost makes it as if I actually know what I'm talking about. Ah, dear. Okay. Right, we'll move the command over there. So this is the Jäger. Is that a Jäger Panzer Corps? Oh my lord. Hermann Gerdens, perhaps? Is that what the HG stands for? Yeah, the guard units are incredibly scary. Do you get the Kriegsmarine to provide fire support? Unfortunately not. Okay, that'll do. The Panzer Corps. What I'm doing here is I'm basically shifting my units so I can actually have them closer to our headquarters and actually spread the headquarters out a little bit, well, more efficiently. That's the idea here. And what we'll do soon is we'll take a look at reinforcements and withdrawals. Okay, they can handle another division. the idea is we spread these core commands out more efficiently. It's going to lessen the amount of support per division, more or less, I suppose, or like hex. But the reason for doing this is so we can actually see what we can spare. I really need to know what I can actually spare from this fight. Okay, you can move down this way. One more division. Okay. Right. What I'm going to do over here is I'm actually going to take a look at these forces. The issue is I don't have the terrain to fall back into. The actual good defensive terrain is some way away, and I have to give a lot of space there. The issue is the more space I give the Soviets in the center, the more they will use it to beat me over the head with. We need to reduce their speed. Well, reduce their speed of advance and reduce their room and maneuver. So I'm going to advance the 292nd Division. We do have an opportunity here, so I'm going to pull back. Let's see. We do have the fortification, so that actually might not be the best thing to do. During this period, the Germans sent a Panzer Corps to Hungary. Might be able to, we'll have to see. Actually, speaking of withdrawals and reinforcements, I did say I would take a look. Okay. So we will receive in the third term Group Vistula, 11th SS Panzer Army, 10th SS Corps, Führer Begleit, Panzer Grenadier Division, 4th SS Panzer Grenadier Division, Jägers. Very little. Good amount of flak. That could be useful. Yeah. In reality, we're not going to gain much here. Reinforcements are really not coming. At least not much. We do gain... we only gain one squadron of BF-109s. That's pathetic. Okay. I think what we're better off doing is, I know this is level 3 entrenched position, but I'm going to pull back. With one division, that is. Reason being so I can actually spread these troops out. Right, we do have the 7th Panzer Division up there. Okay. This division... See, we're not too heavily pressed. We are heavily pressed over here. But what I would be better off doing is actually keeping the Infantry Division potentially on the front line, having the Jaeger Division act as a reserve. The reason for that is it actually stiffens the line quite nicely. The 18th Panzer Grenadiers. The Panzer Grenadiers could do with being sent to this northern area. This is where the pressure is. If we actually send those Panzer Grenadiers, they could actually really help to stiffen that area. Now, we do have a few advantages going for us. I know it seems like we don't, but trust me, we really do. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to summarize the actual advantages that we do have. So, what we have to bear in mind is the Soviets are moving away from their centers of supply. We are moving technically closer to ours. We have all of these railed lines that are going to be bringing us supplies. So we do have the advantage of interior lines. Now, with interior lines, we gain access to supplies quite easily. I think sometime in 45, the Großdeutschland Panzer Division becomes a corps. I'd imagine so, it's bloody huge. It's very nice though. See you later then, man. Have a good one. Okay. I know this is taking a long time, but what we're doing here is we're trying to figure out what we can spare. Now, if we had to identify the main Soviet offensive, it would of course be down here in the south. This is where things are very dangerous. But at the end of the day, we can hold the line. We can absolutely hold the line. We just need to be smart about it. What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to work out how many troops I need to actually hold a front line, and how many I can spare. What I need to do is actually try and aim for at least a spare army. And that is pretty insane. But the reason for that is I need to have the numbers I can send out there. So basically what you're saying, XTRG, is that your advantage is the Soviets won't overrun you as quickly as they could because of their supply lines. Yeah, that is my silver lining. My silver lining is as well, we do have a lot of urban centres to fall back into. Which I know sounds mad. I mean, once we advance into Germany, once we are forced back into Germany, we do have a lot of urban centres to use, which is at least a linchpin of our defensive lines. So that's something at the very least. I only have 39 administration points, so what I'm planning to do is actually identify the areas where I can start to build a defensive line that is going to matter. But what I'll probably do is actually use these administration points to really just move more able commanders into the field. Okay, you're actually cut off from your commander. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this headquarters down this way. You're going to take command of all these forces, which is going to form a nice, tidy core. Okay. Move the Jaegers. Move these forces back. Put you on reserve. Right, so that's the second army. Move this artillery back here as well. Okay. I'm going to pull back here too. In some ways, giving up territory in the north is preferable to the south of the map because Silesia is for the critical industry. I mean, if we take a look actually on the map here at industry, the vast majority is over here. Vast majority is over this area. Right. Okay, those commands will work. So far I do have a spare division. A spare Panzer Grenadier division as well. Now the thing is, do I send infantry or do I send Panzer Grenadiers? I'm going to send infantry to the north. See, this is actual weakness over here. This is where they're weakest on the ground. I need to blunt their offensive over here. Okay. Now this is a truly terrible situation. So what we'll do over here then is we'll do much the same as before. We're going to draw on where we have the strength available to us. We do have some major cities, which is a godsend. Redo that last one. Okay, we'll keep it at that. Now I'm going to draw the forest again. Now it's a very good defensive position. So is this. This is what I love to see, is these large bands of forests. They definitely help us out considerably. But if we take a look over here then, we're really rather weak in the north. Around Warsaw we are very weak. So if I was to form a defensive line, the best chance I'd actually have is, if I was to hazard a guess, is down from Kutno. I mean, ideally, well, actually, let's see. This is a real bad situation, so what I'd be better off doing is actually going like this. But obviously, if I can hold a front line, I will try to. But this situation we have here is untenable. It will collapse. The best case scenario is to... well... Ah, thank you for subscribing to that, Tadzio. Yes. So the best position I can actually work out here is... in all honesty, that. That's the best I can hope for in this area. Now if I actually put the troops back on here... you can see the Soviets are advancing really in the areas where the actual natural terrain is more advantageous towards the actual attacker. You can see, sure, they are moving through the forest, but where they're actually pushing is mostly plains. And where we hold is mostly plains. Sorry, mostly forest. Yeah, this line, that line looks like Swiss cheese. Soon will be Swiss cheese. I hope you guys do find it a lot easier to see what I'm talking about when I draw it out. Epic Pen is truly a superb tool, and I really do need to approach them about a sponsorship. But again, thank you to Matrix for allowing this to happen. They're the real MVPs here. Okay, so let's see what we can do here. I'm honestly going to consider just a mass withdrawal, because frankly, I don't have the goods here. Okay. I could form a division here. When I say division, I'm really being very, very nice. Frankly, they have nothing left to give. And I'm very, very lacking here. This area is by far the weakest. By far. I do have the Brandenburg Panzergrenadier Division. I do have the 154th Infantry Division. We do have the 1st Hermann-Goering. I'm going to assume that this is the Hermann-Goering Panzer Division. Withdrawals being generous, escaping the clutches of Red Moor is more accurate. Yeah, definitely true. In all honesty, it's... it's a terrible, terrible situation. I don't have... I mean, with this being in winter, I don't have the benefit of being able to rely upon river lines. I don't. I simply don't. In all honesty, the best thing that could happen to us would be mud. Mud really does help me out. Mud's the best thing we can hope for. I mean, these are heavy blizzards. Absolutely terrible. All that is available is a series of poor choices, just have to find the best of the worst possibility. Indeed. I mean, it's like, I'd love to be coming up with grand defensive plans or grand defensive plans, but we simply can't do that. The first session, perhaps the first 2 sessions, is really going to be damage control. Absolute damage control. We need to figure out how best to hold the front line. And frankly, it's a difficult situation. We lack the numbers, we lack the arms, we lack the artillery, we lack the amount of armor, the amount of planes, the supplies is actually in our favor, technically. We do have the availability of supplies, even if it is shaky. I need to pull back here. Okay. Fun, a former Luftwaffe field division that didn't acquit themselves terribly in Italy. Okay. Occupy the forest. Right, have them reassigned. This corps needs to hold this. These two corps need to hold this area. And they're going to find that impossible to do. I do have panzers. That is a silver lining here. Right, have them assigned to that corps. Thankfully, and I am dead serious when I say this, thankfully we do have another division here. This one division is going to make all the difference in the world. Even if it is a security division, it will be on the front line. It will be. As frankly, I have nothing left other than that to give. I'm not going to put it right on the front line, as that would allow us to be attacked by multiple divisions. So what we will do then is, I'm actually going to try and stiffen up some of the resolve. So 2 parts of it will go over here. Well, to this area. 1 part over here. See, these guys are set to refit. What I'm trying to do here is blunt their offensive towards Lodz. I mean, what I'm trying to do is make sure that we have more of a formidable defense here. So the Soviets will think, right, okay, we are facing some significant resistance here. We're better off going, oh, you know, to the north, or, you know, to the south. But not directly towards Lodz, which is obviously the major linchpin in the area. That's the theory anyway. I would like to actually hold these defensive points. Yeah, they're actually really fantastic. Easier said than done. Oh, good lord. They are boned. But not quite. Right, pull back the panzers for the time being. Panzer Grenadiers to hold this section here. I know this seems like madness. The reason why I didn't actually just pull back these troops individually is they work better as a division, as an actual proper division. And if they fall back as a division. So I'm trying to form something of... well... it's a difficult one. I'm going to try and hold something like this. And... it's going to be fun. It's going to be so fun. This is a bane in my life. Right, we'll pull back beyond the defensive line. Actually, a bad decision. It's a shame about this. Yeah. Yeah, I'll go around in a circle lots. Move these Panzer Grenadiers here to actually secure that hex. Move the artillery here. Okay, so this is a difficult situation. They will be forced back. They absolutely will be forced back. But what I want to do is ensure their retreat. If I can make it possible for that to happen, then we're not going to completely lose them. They're going to get battered. They are going to get their heads caved in. But they will survive. You will live, but you will not live well. Now I am going to leave this Panzer Division here on the front line of this fortified position. The reason being, this is incredibly weak. Incredibly weak. I do have the benefit of the Panzers here, which I could use to actually shore this up, which I will have to. But frankly, if we take a look, there's a lot of Soviet strength here. A lot of it. And frankly, where are they going to go? They're going to go this way. They're going to attempt to go this way. But I'm going to try and force them to go this way, towards the Vistula. The reason being, I need to send them away from my front lines, away from Lodz. I need to prevent the fall of Lodz. Lodz is the key in this area. The absolute key. As well, Lodz does have some heavy industry and resource production, which we need. Of course, the manpower too. Okay. You'll be assigned directly to the 9th Army. And you will be put on reserve. It's a dire situation here. Absolutely dire. We've had to give a lot of ground here. This I wish I could pull back. Well, push back. That is a monster. That's a monster. But this is by far the most dangerous. Now, thankfully, when I do get down here towards the Carpathian Mountains and Slovakia and the Tatra Mountains, I do gain a pretty Nice position. Hello there, Sterling Steve. How are you doing, my friend? How is this Barbarossa? Well, I suppose you could call it Barbarossa, but from the Soviet perspective. Well, Soviet position. What are the victory/stalemate conditions? Well, let's see. Can I find that out? So I need to hold on to these cities. Holding on to Berlin actually does give me a lot. Losing numbers obviously will lose me points. At the moment, we are technically winning. Mostly because we actually hold these positions, not for any other reason. So, the Soviets, yeah, declaration. Yes, the Soviets need to capture Breslau. Right, okay, so they need to actually capture the objectives in the Courland pocket. So in reality, we need to hold on to Courland. At least then it actually denies the Soviets victory points. At the end of the day, I need to hold. I need to absolutely hold at any cost. At any reason we will do this. Looks like you're going to end up with the Nöring's Roving Pocket. The year is 45. Okay. This is a difficult position. I do have some decent forces down here, but not many of them. I can pull back here. I do have a spare division that I can throw in here. Really what I'd rather do is move this division here, this division here. And then use this as a reserve. Indeed, the Oder Vistula. We are playing the Vistula to Berlin scenario. Okay. At least I do have some Hungarian forces. We do have some panzer divisions. To be honest, I've not taken actually a good look at my rear. 103rd Panzer Brigade, 46th Infantry Division. I could reactivate some of these divisions. How much would that cost me? Let's take a quick look, actually. So to reactivate it, I do gain that division back, which is probably a good idea. Don't worry guys, the Soviets will give up communism and join us any day now. Oh, goddammit, Sterling. You're buttering me up. Right, 20th SS Grenadier Division. Holstein Panzer Division. Marine Division. Stettin Fortress Infantry Division. I do have some pre-established defensive positions. The Pomeranian Wall. The Oder Wall. Okay. So at least we have something. Something to back us up. Not much. Really not much. Okay. At least I do have a fortified zone here. Right, pull back. So I do have the actual town here, which is very nice. With that infantry division there. Okay, move the panzers over here, have them in reserve. Goddamn comedian. I like it. Okay, I'd like to have you attached to another command, I do believe. Sadly, they have to be sent to the front line. Okay. Reserves here. Reserves definitely here. See, the thing is, I could run reconnaissance, but that's not gonna happen. If I run reconnaissance, I'm going to lose a lot of planes. And I mean a lot of planes. And I need them. Really, really do. I mean, if we take a look at the actual Soviet numbers here. Yeah, they definitely outnumber me in the air. Definitely. I do have a force over here. Okay, we'll move them down to the town over here at Konikopol. Konikopol? Konikopol. I don't know how you pronounce that. See, this is what I was talking about. Sure, things seem absolutely horrific. And they are. Don't get me wrong, they are horrific. But we're able to salvage something of a front line. At the end of the day, as long as we can form a coherent front line, we have viability. I already do have 2 Panzer Grenadier forces that I can actually use to stiffen the lines where we need to. And reality is, this will hold. And I'm considering, do I pull back here? I could, but I don't think it would serve to any particular benefit, as I still have to cover this. And I see, so we have, well, I mean, it was short on the front line, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, this is a nice defensive position. I don't really want to give that up. Then again. No, we'll shorten the front line. Let's see. Then again, we do have these defensive positions. Let's move you over this way. God damn it, Steve. Okay, we do actually have a nice position down here. Okay. Breslau. I mean, this is it. Where am I weakest on the ground? That is definitely a good question. So if we take a look at army groups and armies. So center... Well, actually no, Army Group A has... Well, sorry, Army Group A has the most men. Followed by center. Army Group North does have a considerable amount of men. Don't get me wrong. Most guns to A, then center. Army Group North is obviously lacking in artillery, obviously because they're cut off. Group A has the most armor, followed by center. Lots of aircraft. Okay. This is something we have to sort out. In terms of the armies, the 1st Panzer Army is lacking. The 17th Army is the one to worry about, which is over here. So in reality, I need to move forces. The thing is, do I actually deploy my Panzer Grenadiers all at once, or do I keep them? Does this game simulate Western bombs of Germany and all that? Then again, I don't know if it has production. It does have production, but it's very much different to how you'd imagine. So if you want to take a look at a deeper economic simulation, I would definitely suggest getting Grigsby's War in the Pacific. That does cover the industry and the effects of bombing quite significantly. Okay. I think this area needs the Panzer Grenadiers. This area I think will hold. I'm actually fairly confident this will hold. It won't hold well, but it will hold. I don't think I need to deploy any extra troops here. And if anything, I believe I can actually withdraw troops. That would be very nice of you, actually. I spent a long time waffling here. I spent a long time waffling. We are coming close to the end of the first session, but to be honest, we do have some hope. Right, move the Panzer Grenadiers towards a rail line. And we will use them to blunt the offensive here. I say this is where we're weak. Right, no problem, just come back tomorrow. Okay. So I'm going to send them to Lodz. Ninth Army is actually over command. Okay. Have them change armies. Reactivate the division in Warsaw. Now, this might sound like madness, but I would like to actually send Panzer Grenadiers into Warsaw. The reason being, if I stiffen up the resistance there in Warsaw, then that is a major bonus there. Okay. Don't do it, no. Well, I wouldn't send the entire division. The idea is potentially a brigade. What I want to use Warsaw for is something of a breakwater. I understand that there is a lot of consideration, but what I'm going to do here is break up the 2 Panzer Grenadier divisions over this area. Just more Grigsby for the meat grinder. Yeah, that's true. We'll take on people's opinions. So we'll consider it. Warsaw grad. God damn it, Steve. Okay. Right, form that up. Oh, everything's better in urban. Well, not everything. Panzer Grenadiers are pretty good. Well, things generally do have a solid defense in urban settings. And in fairness, if I can spare a division down here, I will send another division into Warsaw, just to make sure it holds. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to send a brigade. Not from there. So I'm going to send a detachment of the 73rd Infantry Division. That should hopefully help stabilize the situation over here in Warsaw. I am going to actually deploy my Panzer Grenadiers over to this area. This is a massive commitment of force, I do have to point out. Okay, you should be able to potentially handle that. Assign you to the 9th Panzer Army. Sorry, the 9th Army. Right, it's not too bad. What I'll do then is actually assign this to another command over here. Okay, you're going to function pretty well. Okie dokie. So this has moved a great number of armoured fighting vehicles. So over 500 armoured fighting vehicles into this area, which is very considerable. That is a considerable number of armoured fighting vehicles. So we are really starting to make progress now. We do have something of a defensive line sorted out. We've identified where we can save troops, and to be honest, I could actually send 3 divisions, potentially even 4 divisions. I do have another Panzer Grenadier division here. Bad move. I'll have you act as reserve and for the time being until I can move you out. I do have a Panzer division here. That's great. Right. Nowhere near enough capacity to move them by rail. That is a shame. Okay. So, what we have to bear in mind here is we do have forces available for reserves. It doesn't seem that way. It seems like an absolute impossibility. It seems like, oh no, we have no hope here. We have hope. We do in fact have hope. Not a lot. Not a lot. But from a spark comes a raging flame. We should be able to stabilise the situation in the north to a degree. We are going to be pushed back, but at least we'll be able to see where the Soviets are going to be pressing us. I will redeploy the Luftwaffe possibly in the next session. We do have 26 administration points. I think the best case scenario here is we take a look at the actual leaders, or potentially set up fortified zones. Fortified zones are a different story though. Right. Let's move another infantry division down this way. Have you assigned to this command? How good are fortified zones? On their own, crap. But if you actually put some forces in there to stiffen them up, they actually do work well. They're rare, well, how to describe them? We'll take a look at their table of equipment. You don't get a lot of men, but you do get these fortified zones. The idea behind them is really, they establish these entrenched positions. You will deploy one and you will then build up these defensive positions over time. It takes a very long time, there's only a few of them. Under HQ with engineers. Okay. Reserves here too. So at least in this area we do have a couple thousand reserves. Yeah, they build up the forts beforehand, pretty much. That's a fairly powerful division. Yeah, they'll break pretty quickly or just be destroyed. That Jaeger division. Oh my. Very formidable down here. We should be able to actually hold without much issues. What I'm interested in is the 20th Panzer. They do need to be moved out. This is gonna hurt. Okay. But we do have 3 infantry divisions that we can move. We have another Panzer division. We have technically 2 to 3 Panzer divisions that can be moved. We have a Panzer Grenadier division that we will move in time. Some of these forces actually could march over here. These forces could march to be potentially. So what I could do is I have the option. I do have the option of sending a Jaeger division here to help stiffen their lines up. I do have another Panzer Grenadier division here. What I feel better about doing is actually pulling back that Panzer Grenadier division. I think with Panzer Grenadiers, I mean, I say Panzer Grenadier division, but it's not exactly tip-top condition, is it? No, then again, no, it does have a, well, it does have a large amount of assault guns. So, no, I'll take that back. But that's actually fairly effective for what it is. Over here at Mamel, probably better to pull out, if we can do. If I have to, I will leave the actual headquarters. That doesn't particularly matter too much. Okay, naval move. You can imagine how dangerous something like this is. Maybe we could just say that the High Command pulled out all the stops and the Grigsby really did pull out all the stops to pull these guys out. It's not a lot of men. But, you know, it actually is something. It is going to make its difference felt. I just hope it doesn't catastrophically backfire on me, as it is going to make it easier on the Soviets now. They will take Mamel. Baltic was swarming with hostile planes at this point. Oh yeah, I can imagine. Okay. So, I mean, that's another 2 infantry divisions. Not full strength, don't get me wrong. Not full strength, but still better. Something that we can actually use. I do feel the north is going to hold a lot better than the south. The centre is an absolute nightmare. There's not really much good to say about the centre other than, well, it's in the middle. To the south we have great defensive terrain. To the north, it's not exactly... It's not bad. It's not bad defensive terrain. In reality, this is a nightmare. Absolute nightmare. Thankfully, we do have plenty of urban centres from which I can actually base some sort of defensive line on. Other than that, there's really not a huge amount. Once we actually start to reach Germany, things do improve. But we'll have to see about that. So, yeah. If I look for my areas of industry... I'm looking for something that's really going to matter. Okay. The year is 1945. As you can tell, things are rather poor. Indeed, genuinely. Okay. So what I'm doing now is I'm thinking of what we're going to do in the next session. Now, I do apologise to you guys who might have been expecting a turn to actually progress in the first session. No. No. And what we've done here is we've actually established a defensive line that may in fact hold. And what we'll do then in the second session, which will come next week, is we are going to take a look at the actual leaders of the different army commands, of the different corps, and try to really balance things out. But this will all have to stand the test of time. Dude, how I actually set up convoys for an hour and a half yesterday. Yeah. Well, this is it. How long does one turn take? Well, it depends really what you do. It's like at the end of the day, I could just end the turn and we'd be absolutely effed. But if you actually want to get into things and you actually want to do things right, it's going to take you a long time. I think we spent about 2 hours on this, and it's worthwhile. Definitely worthwhile. Oh, you loved it. You absolutely loved watching me put those convoys together. But we've actually established a plan in Courland. We've established an idea of defensive positions. I mean, this is what we have to bear in mind. We need to look at the defensive, well, the front line, but the front line is only a momentary apparition, I suppose you could say. We have to look towards the second line, we have to look towards the third line, fourth line, fifth line. We have to look and understand what we face to the rear, so that we can actually face what is in front of us with actual confidence. But alas, ladies and gentlemen, the time is now 8 PM, And you know what? This has been fantastic. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I apologise if I have gotten a little bit tongue-tied. I apologise if I pronounce names wrong. I'm going to say I do it on purpose if that makes you guys like me more. I really don't. I'm not very good at pronunciations. But thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I hope you guys continue to follow these series as we go forwards. It will be roughly each week. More than likely a Wednesday, 6 PM or 8 PM as always. So I hope you guys have really enjoyed this. And you know what? You could do a great thing for me. And you could go down into the actual video once it's uploaded onto YouTube. Like, comment, and you know what? Why not subscribe to me as well? My channel is XTRG on YouTube. And you know what? I do talk a lot and don't do very little. So if you like that sort of thing, you know where to find me. So until next time, guys, thank you so very much. And goodbye. Have a great one. Goodbye from myself. And from Matrix Games. Hope to see you again soon.